Hey everybody, it's Marty the JavaScript Party, and it is and Rhett is here with me. And she's way back in that corner. She's destroying the wall again. I don't know why she does that from time to time, but I got to move her away from the wall. She's being a bad girl, and I don't know why, but yeah, she does that sometimes. Sometimes she just acts out. I was kind of like moving around a lot when I was bringing her back here, so maybe she's all antsy from that. But anyways, it is Friday, May 9th, and it is, I think it was said it was 65 degrees outside Fahrenheit and 97% humidity. So our humidity has dropped a little bit. It's going to be warm. I think it's going to be pretty hot today. I bet you will rise up to about like 85 degrees. I didn't look at that on the forecast, but 85 degrees. It's getting kind of warm. I went running yesterday. I think it was like 81 degrees. I ran 3 miles and it felt pretty hot. So it's time to acclimate, because here in about we are April, May, like by June, it'll be hitting 100 degrees Fahrenheit here. And if you haven't acclimated, if you haven't been running the whole time, what'll happen is, you can't. You're just out of luck. You'll either have to do it very early in the morning or late in the evening. And then the problem with the mornings and evenings here is that we have a lot of bugs that will sting you and all that. So it's kind of nice to run in the daytime because, you get a good sweat going and the bugs can't get you. But you can't just do it. One doesn't just run in 100 degrees weather. You have to sort of ran when it was like 80 and then 83 and then 85. You got to work your way up to it. Same way with the cold. It's like if you run and then the temperature drops into the 30s or 40s, then you could still run, but only if you acclimated. If you didn't acclimate, then you can't. You're stuck inside. And like there's just nothing that'll make you feel better than going on a brisk run in like 35, 40 degree weather if you're acclimated. And then you come in and you just feel like $1,000,000. I mean, the endorphins that you get and all that are amazing. But anyways, it's Friday, so I'm wearing my Wally shirt. This is my favorite shirt to wear on Friday. And unlike most days, normally what happens is I start work and then like we have our stand up at 10 a.m. And then so I kind of have an hour. I prepare for the meeting. I kind of figure out what I did yesterday, get everything all worked out, and then I do my stand up and then wait to see if I get any new marching orders. You have to be very flexible. Like it's kind of weird, like when you're a very, very highly experienced, skilled worker, you're still just a worker. You're at the bottom of the toilet bowl, the totem pole. But you, like, so you're gonna, you just get pulled in a million different directions and all that. So you have to be extremely flexible. Typically you're paid well, but you're not, really, you don't really have a whole lot of control over your situation. But we will definitely give Rhett her nut. So here we go. Put that there. Maybe that'll keep her away from. Well, she can't chew the walls because I pulled the cage away from the wall. But maybe that'll make her happy. It's always good to have a happy bird. So I was thinking about this, and so yesterday somebody put a comment on one of my things. The 3-minute video that I did last Saturday seems to have been extremely helpful. I ended up with like 10 more subscribers in a week than I normally get. Typically what happens is so when I only had like 50 subscribers, basically every month I would get like 30 to 40 extra subscribers a month. It's kind of hard to tell. You can't tell like how many you lost versus how many you gained. But you could tell how many new subscribers you got, and you could tell how many subscribers you have. So you can kind of figure out how many subscribers you lost. So basically what was typically happening is I would get like 30 to 40 subscribers. Basically I was getting enough subscribers to have a slow, steady increase. And then I hit about 300 subscriptions, and then it just sort of flatlined. And basically, instead of getting like 30 to 40 new subscribers a month, I would drop to like 12 to 13 a month. So basically, I think what is happening is I get as many subscribers as I lose. So if I lose a subscriber, my suspicion is what happens is that YouTube then presents me to more people so that I could pick up another subscriber. And they seem to be keeping me in the 300 range. And the only reason I think that that's true is because my wife has a YouTube channel too. And she's a little different than me because she has like 40,000, almost 40,000 subscribers on TikTok, or followers, I think they call them on TikTok, but only like, and she saw the exact same scenario where she was getting like 30 to 40 new subscribers every month till she hit 300, and then it kind of flatlined. And what was different about hers is almost all of her subscribers were like people that she knew from TikTok that would come over and subscribe to her on YouTube. And so that was different because mine aren't like that. Mine are like totally new people. So it just kind of seems like, the platforms kind of try to grow you in a very controlled way, and then they kind of let you hit a plateau and sort of let you operate at that plateau for a while. And then if you pass certain criteria, I suppose they then get you going again to the next plateau. And so like on TikTok, I saw very similar. We've seen a very similar situation where they kind of will let you go straight to like 1,000 subscribers, and then you kind of flatline at 1,000 until you hit a certain point, and then suddenly you kind of add 50 to 60 new subscribers a day until you hit like 500 or 5,000, and then you kind of flatline again. And I think it makes sense because like let's say tomorrow I suddenly had 1 million subscribers, it would crush me. I would have no idea how to manage that. So I don't think they're doing it for nefarious reasons. I think they're doing it because they want to, not let me get crushed. But anyways, so this guy made a comment. He's like, oh, I'm thinking about doing this format and blah 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 blah. And I responded, oh, it's really nice because you get a lot better at communicating. Like that has probably been my biggest benefit from this. Is now at work when I communicate, like during stand-ups and all that, I'm much, much better at communicating what is happening, and it's made my life way better. So doing this has had a side effect of being very, very good for my personal experience at my job. I don't think it's really helped me like get promoted or be a better employee from their perspective, but I think it's made my life better because now I can talk. I was kind of like one of these people that like I knew things but I couldn't express them. And I would get very frustrated, and maybe from time to time I would act out in a very unproductive way because like people couldn't understand me, and now I can communicate better so people can understand me. So that is one of the huge side effects. But the other side effect that I noticed is that I could sleep a lot better, and the reason I could sleep a lot better is I think I have full control over this project, and this project is big enough to occupy my brain. So I lay down, like I can think about work and things at work, and I have some incredibly complex things I'm working on at work, but I don't have control. Like basically on a whim, I can be pointed in a different direction and then all that. So like it's really hard. It's so open-ended. When I lay down, if I start thinking about work, there's just so many different things that can happen. But when I lay down and think about this, it can occupy all my brain, so it pushes all the work stuff out of my brain, and it's enough, I have enough control that I can actually come to conclusions and then just fall asleep. And I think it's made a huge difference in my ability to sleep. And then another thing is that it's slowed everything down. Now I think through things. I have time to think through things a lot more than I did at work. And one of the things that I was thinking about was how we definitely came to the conclusion that I needed to add like a keyboard handler and a click handler. And and then the thing is we want all this sort of very Angular material specific workaround code to be handled in our keyboard viz handler. Like that's the idea. And why, like, well, so I was thinking through that, and obviously we figured out why we needed to do that, because we really, like, when you add from a click, it's just like, hey, just go ahead and click this. I don't even think we need the event. Oh, I guess we do need the event so we can prevent the default and all that. But when we add from a keyboard, we have to have this other thing. And so we don't want those all mixed together, because basically this is complicated code that has, at some point, Angular Material is probably going to fix this. So when I do the upgrade, my end-to-end testing will catch that, hey, it doesn't work anymore. Like, it only works, you're not getting what you expect. I can write tests to actually test test this functionality. And I even can be like, oh, when I do an upgrade, like, I'm never going to think about this next time I do my upgrade. But then when I go, I'm definitely going to run my end-to-end tests after I do my next upgrade. And then if there's an issue, I can write tests that will catch that issue. So that's, a reason to separate those two things out. But then I was like, well, I kind of want to do a click biz. I mean, I kind of want to I need basically component attributes to be able to do this, to be able to maintain the persist whatever is happening between clicks. But those are kind of a pain in the butt to unit test. It's not that alone it's a pain in the butt, but like, it just sort of leads to situations that end up being a pain in the butt to unit tests. And I realized that what would make a lot more sense to me is to add a function that literally just gets the things from the component attributes and passes them to another function that does the logic. And the main reason that makes a lot of sense is that's going to be so much easier to unit test. I can just run the one that passes and say, hey, I expected it to pass or whatever. And then I can run the next one where I pass it the actual things. It'll be easy to pass things in and have the expectations that I want. And it'll just be a lot easier. And then it dawned on me, wow, that is actually probably a much better approach to take to these sorts of things anyways. Sort of just separate the gathering information from the component attributes from the doing whatever crazy logic needs to be done because Angular Material has a quirk. So that's that. Now, Angular Material has lots of quirks. It's just one of those things. But like, it's kind of like one of those things where it just does so much. It does so many good things. But then the other thing I realized is it's kind of nice when you return something, because that is also something that can be easily unit tested. So like, if I say return Boolean here, and then I say, misspelled Boolean, and then I say return true, then it's just a lot easier to write a test that says, hey, I expect to get a true back, right? And so like, if something were to break in here or whatever you want, or let's say, I've never, like, okay, one thing that I learned a long, long time ago is one of the sort of, like, I learn probably every day, maybe every couple days, I learn like some new rule that you should always do. And I would say only 1 in 100 of them are actually good rules. And one of the good rules that like I've never really been able to, I've only seen a very few exceptions, where it isn't just the best way to do it. And in those exceptions, the benefit just was not worth getting rid of the rule, is one entry point and one exit for all functions. I've always found that to be a very, very good rule. So in this point, we have one exit right here. So like you could be like return false, like this is, and then return true. And just over time, I have found that this is not nearly as good of a thing as that, or let was open, or setted to open equals true, and then over here say setted to open equals false, and then returning setted to open, or something like that. Like having a variable that you set, and then you set it, and then once you're done you exit. I've found almost every single time, like literally 99 times out of 100, that to be a better approach than having like different cases where you exit out. And just a million reasons, and I can't really wrap my mind around all of them and express all of them, but that has just always worked out really well for me. Now maybe always having a return type might be a good rule, and I definitely want to sort of experiment with that and see, like, is there a situation where I was just better off without a return? Maybe not. So anyways, we do know. Okay, and so now one last thing, and I kind of started down this road a minute ago, but I normally have my first meeting at 10 a.m., but I'm supposed to start work at 9, and I have a meeting at 9, so I do have to get off a little earlier than normal. So it is 8:32. And I really wanted to have like be able to do a Cypress tomorrow, like the 3-minute Cypress thing. It would be nice to be able to do that every Saturday morning and put it out. But unfortunately, I don't think I'm quite ready for a Cypress. I could probably force a Cypress thing, but this is a perfect example where like I'm in control, so I don't need to do something just for some, like I know how important it is to me, since I'm the only person involved, that this Cypress thing get done on Saturday morning. And it's just, it'd be nice, but it would be a nice to have. So anyways, I want to do the keyboard. That's going to be the more complicated, right? And I kind of understand why we added, like, why they had us add something like this, right? So handler. So this is my way of saying, hey, this is something that gets called directly from the UI keyboard interaction. And this thing is going to return a Boolean. I don't know if that's a good idea. This is just something I'm experimenting with. And then I'm going to say, literally all this is going to do is so I guess that should be viz handler. So that's where, and literally all it's going to do is call another function. Okay, so I don't know, I'm just going to call it success equals true. Now, I think this would fail a lot of linters, and I don't think this is what I'm going to be doing in the future, but this is just sort of like I'm trying to learn something here. But since I'm not actually ever changing, well, okay, so const. I think a lot of linters would not be happy with me returning something they can't change. But who knows? Maybe not. So then basically, actually, let's make this a let. And we'll say add keyboard biz. And literally all it's going to do is call. Well, okay, so this has to do this. It has to stop the propagation because we don't want the menu to get executed. So, and then basically this dot open. And that wasn't the right thing anyways, so this dot previously processed. And we'll probably end up doing something different for this too. Like this, this is awkward at the moment. I don't think it'll be awkward at the end, but I think at this point I just need to walk down this path at keyboard viz, and then previously processed. And that is going to be a Boolean. And it's going to return a Boolean. And then we are going to basically so I guess what we're going to do is we're going to basically, this is a toggle, right? Like if it was previously processed, then it's going to be the opposite, right? So we're going to return the opposite of previously processed. Okay. Now this is not like, I don't think this is super obvious like over time. Like right now it's kind of obvious, but so processed. And then I guess this should be keyboard. So basically we're just toggling it, and I think we want to, and this needs a this in front of it, and then we want to return, I guess, this. All right, so we're returning whatever we got, whatever we get back from this thing, and basically it's just going to basically toggle keyboard previously processed, and I think this should be keyboard, and then this should be keyboard. I'm doing something a little bit different than what I've ever done before, but it is kind of stuff that like I've thought out loud. I've thought to myself, like while I was going, man, it would be kind of nice to do this, but I didn't really have time to explore it. So now I have time to explore it, so I'm exploring it. So basically this is going to stop the keyboard, and if it was previously processed, if it's not previously processed, okay, so the purpose of this, okay, so Matt, what is this thing called? Matt menus. Quirk causes events to be called twice. Okay, so this function will send 2 requests per one will create one viz for every 2 calls, and then previous, and then basically our logic is if it was previously processed, so if it wasn't previously processed, which is how we start, then we want to add viz. This dot add viz. And we don't even care about the result. Okay, and we want to get rid of the event on that. So this is just going to break other stuff, but add viz.
Ready?
I want to make it add viz eventually, but
Ready?
I think that's how you spell visualization. So here's a good way to propagate a misspelling. So if I have not spelled this properly, I will propagate that. Here, let's just make sure we got it spelled right. There we go. And we actually want it to be capital, so let's just go ahead and copy this one. And then we'll put that right there, right here. And then, I love you too. So I'm hoping I remember to put this back to and we don't care about this. Literally all we want to do, all we want this thing to do is add viz from the service and return a true. Now it would be kind of nice if this visualization service returned a value, like if something went wrong or if something went right, but you know, like we're kind of moving in that direction. Okay, so and then, okay, so basically what's happening is this handles the keyboard. It prevents any propagation so it doesn't close the menu. And then it calls the keyboard viz and it passes it our local thing. So basically 2 jobs, right? One is prevents the menu
Ready?
from shutting, closing. Creates the visualization. Viz, if appropriate. And then over here, when you read this, it says menus have a quirk that cause events to be called twice. This function will create 1 viz for every 2 calls. Very simple to understand. And I don't know if that's going to work or not. But now, 8:46. Ooh, I got to hurry. We will try this, changing this guy, the keyboard ones, to this. And we will give it a shot. Shot to the heart.
Right.
Gotta hit save. And you didn't save. You give love a bad name. Yeah. Ooh. That's weird. Sometimes it didn't. Oh, so sometimes it gives 2 and sometimes it doesn't. So anyways, we got some kind of bug there, right? So basically, kind of seems like the first time it works perfectly. And then the second time it works perfectly. And then the third time it did not work perfectly. Fourth time it worked perfectly. Fifth time did not work perfectly. Sixth time it worked. Seventh time it didn't. That is so wild. So every other time it works, and sometimes it doesn't. Now I would love to sit there and work through this one because this is a delicious little book. It's so wild that it works right twice and then it doesn't. I don't think this will be that hard to fix, but maybe it will. There's no telling. But that will be a good thing for me to work on tomorrow. I have 13 minutes before my meeting, so I got to go. Happy coding, everybody. Bye.